Welcome. This lesson's a little more difficult than the previous lesson, as what we want to do is find the distance between 2 points. And the way we do that is we use the Pythagorean theorem. I'm hoping you recall that from last school year. Pythagorean's theorem just states if we have a right triangle and we label the two legs, they call these legs, the shorter sides, the sides that form the right angle, the shorter sides, if we take those two legs, the relationship they have with the longest side, and the longest side's the hypotenuse, that relationship is given in the formula of if we square the two legs, or a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But I like to actually think of it as the two legs squared added together is equal to the hypotenuse squared, because I don't like being stuck on the variables a, b, and c in case they make one of the legs c as a trick. Then it's not a squared plus b squared equals c squared if one of the legs is labeled as c. Just remember, it's the two legs that are added together after you square them, that equals the hypotenuse squared. Now let's see how that helps us solve this problem. If I was to think of a coordinate system and I was to be given these 2 points, I would go out here to 6, and I don't have to be perfect here, and up to 3, wherever that point is, and I graph that point. Then what I do is I go to 3, 7. So I come out here to 3, I come up here to 7, and I graph that point. Okay, so this is the point 3, 7, and this is the point 6, 3. Now, it's asking for the distance between them, the straight line distance going straight from one to the other. What we do is we form a right triangle that goes straight down and straight over, and then we find the legs of this right triangle, and we use Pythagorean's theorem to find the straight line distance. In other words, how far away is 7 from 3? Well, this side is 4 units in length. How far away is 3 from 6? This leg is 3 units in length. Now I do 4 squared plus 3 squared, and that will equal this side's length squared, equals, technically they say, c squared. Well, 4 squared, 16, 3 squared's 9, so I'm going to do 16 plus 9 equals c squared. 16 plus 9 is 25, and 25 equals c squared. And all we need to do now is square root both sides, and we find out c is 5 units in length. And we use Pythagorean's theorem. So now, I hope you remember from a previous lesson we talked about reducing radicals, because we might get radicals that don't completely reduce to an integer. But by all means, take a minute, pause this video, and write this formula down, write these notes down so you can have them as you move forward. Okay, so I'm going to submit this. Oh, actually, it looks like I'm going to leave some of those notes there. I'm just going to quickly erase all this stuff over here. See, that's the problem. I can't erase quickly. So hopefully you've paused and written that down. All I do is I don't take the time to actually form the whole graph. I just draw a right triangle. And I ask myself, how far away is 9 from 1? It's 8 units away. And I don't care if it's positive or negative because we're talking distance. How far away is 1 from 7? That's 6 units away. And I did the x values as the horizontal distance, the y's as the vertical distance. Now I do Pythagorean's theorem. 6 squared is 36. So a lot of this I do in my head. Added to 8 squared, that's 64. And I add those together and I get 100. And then I square root that, because remember, that's equal to c squared, not the actual distance, but the distance squared. And that's 10. So the distance of this third side will be 10. Come up here and put in 10. Okay, so again, I'll do another one here. I'm going to jump up, actually. I'm just going to jump higher to show you that it's not any harder. As we get higher, here we have these 2 points. Again, just quickly on a sheet of paper, draw yourself a little right triangle. Doesn't matter its orientation, because we're just talking distance. I just want to know how far away is this x value from that x value. Well, it's 5 units away. I don't care if it's positive or negative. How far away is this y value from that y value? It's 2 units. Then what I do is I have my A, I have my B, I'm looking for C. So I square my A, that's 4. I square my B, that's 25. I add those two together, that gives me 29, which is my C squared. So I need to square root that. My answer is the square root of 29. And now if I can, I look for any factors of 29 that might be able to be square rooted. But there are no factors of 29. In fact, 29 is prime. So I actually just type in the square root of 29, and that is the distance. Let's see if I can find one that's going to be a little bit more on the reduction of the root. Yeah, let's try this one. So again, I just quickly, and you'll get fast at this the more you practice it. Draw that little right triangle, find my horizontal distance, which is 7, find my vertical distance, which is 6. Be careful, it's from a positive 3 to a negative 3, that's 6 units. And I'm going to square my A value, which is 36. I'm going to square my B value, which is 49. I'm going to add those together. That's going to be 5, carry the 1, is 70, 85. And then I square root my 85. But now I got to make sure that doesn't have any factors that can be square rooted. I know that 5 goes into 85. 1, let's see, that leaves 35. 7, 17 times 5 is 35. Minus times. So neither of those are can be square rooted, and both of them are prime. So I actually type in the square root of 85. Square root of 85. If you need to, you might need to go all the way back to a previous lesson from the first half of the year where we talked about reducing square roots. Between 6 and negative 10 is going to be 16. 16 squared. See, I get faster and faster at this. Between negative 9 and negative 8 is 1 squared. Well, that's going to be 16 squared, I believe, is, I'm grabbing a calculator, nothing wrong with using a calculator, 256. So I get 256 plus 1, because 1 squared is 1, is 257. I'll bet you anything 257 doesn't have any nice factors in it. Let's see, it's not divisible by 2, it's not divisible by 3 or 5 or 10, so I'll bet you anything it's just going to be the square root of 257. Square root of 257. And there we go. If you have any questions at all about this, please do bring them to class and I will explain it once more.